All right, let's get it. What's up, bros? You don't know what time it is. I had to give somebody the hatchet the other day. I mean, if any of you guys know what the hatchet means, put a one in the chat. A hatchet is basically Marine Corps, Air Force, Army instructors use that hand. But I'm going to tell you something. McCormick gets his fucking hand in your face. Let me tell you something. Corman gets his hand in your face. You're fucking in deep shit. Okay? All right, enough about that bullshit. Let's talk about the next move. All right, guys. And I told you guys from the beginning, I don't want to lie to you. I don't want to lie to nobody about no bullshit. That's why I only have that many subscribers, because I tell the truth on my channel. Okay? The truth about getting in a plane, getting your passport, getting on a plane, going to another country, getting in the country, and some of the dumb shit that the airlines do to fuck you over. All right, let's talk about number one, and that is that you need to carry with you $500 in cash to fly to other countries. There is a way around this. If you have $500 in cash, great. Put it in your fucking wallet. You're not going to use it unless you change it at the cost of the company, which is a fucking mistake. Instead, here's what you do. You go there and you show them your account balance. And I just use a screenshot of my account before. That's what I did. So what do we got here? Okay, so if you're going to fly internationally, you're going to have to be at the airport 3 hours early. You need to be at the airport 3 hours early. It's better for you to be at the airport a little bit early and never wait until the last minute, because there's always going to be fucking lines like crazy and a lot of stressed out people. Now imagine that you're at the grocery store and there's a big long line, and every single client that goes through the grocery store line says something off-putting or rude to the lady that's a cashier. You would say, by the time they got to you, and the lady was kind of like shitty, you would say, oh, that lady's a bitch. But how it is in the airports, it's kind of a next level stupid, okay? When the airports say, you need to print this out, you need to scan this QR code, and you're in a foreign country, and you don't have fucking service, and you can't use your cell phone. I mean, it's a nightmare of shit. You need to be prepared in advance. You need to be with military precision, early to the airport, early through, listen to this, important, go early through immigration and security. So you're on the other side of the airport and find your gate. There's a big old board up top that says, I'm going to Cancun, it's gate number 12, F. And then you look and there's a sign that says gates 1 through fucking 13, you go that way. But you get to where you're going quick. Don't fuck around. Okay, another thing is don't eat shit in the fucking airport. Don't eat anything in the airport, period. When you get to the other side of security, think about this in advance. When you get to the other side of security, they have restaurants in there. They have all kinds of shit in there, like overpriced snacks and stuff. And you can jump on a plane, and they have you fucking paying for snacks with the fucking card in there too, because that's a bullshit. So don't eat anything at the airport. I'm not saying it because it's expensive. I'm just saying it's because you can't bring any shit with you onto the plane when you go through fucking customs. I mean, when you go through security. Don't bring any fucking food. Stupid guys. Okay, I'm serious. Some people that were from here decided to bring their mother some tamales from Mexico. Now, you can actually mail tamales to your mother, but you cannot bring them on the plane. They're not in commercial packaging, and they're not in your checked baggage. So don't do that. You can bring a lot of shit with you in your checked baggage. Like if you want to load up on cacao, chocolate, or whatever, dark chocolate, and you know what I mean, that's in commercial packaging with a sticker and a barcode, and it's sealed, and it's in your checked baggage, which means the big bag goes the fuck downstairs, and your little bag, which by the way is against all my codes, small bag only, small suitcase only, and maybe a backpack, something that's going to hold your laptop or your iPad, something like that, your cell phone, something that you can control at all times, and it's also secure. So nobody's going to reach inside your bag, because the motherfuckers will reach inside your bag and take your fucking passport, your wallet that has your credit cards in it and shit, and you'll be fucked. So don't put yourself in that position. You need to get something that is going to be too difficult to some slide their fucking hand into, because they'll get your ass. So the airports are safe. When you get to the airport, let's say you fly into Panama. You pass through security. You don't have any fucking nothing crazy. They say, hola, you got to learn some Spanish, because if you don't act at least a little bit savvy in Spanish and you act dumb, then the customs person is going to treat you like shit, waste your time, spend a whole lot of fucking time doing nothing. My recommendation is that if it's a lady, and I hope to God that you get a lady when you go through immigration, the first thing that you do is look at their fingernails. Look at their fingernails. If their fingernails are fucked, say nothing. If their fingernails have fingernail polish or they're beautiful, you compliment them on their nails. Because in Latin America, it's okay to compliment women on their fingernails. It's not against the law. People like it. It's very, very different. So if it's hopefully the immigration officer that scans your passport and scans your little finger dues, she's going to press down on your passport in a scanner, and she's going to have her fingernails for you. I want you to say that she has nice nails. You're going to say, uñas muy bonitas. Uñas muy bonitas. Amor, ¿es correcto? Uñas muy bonitas. Uñas bonitas. Uñas bonitas.
¿Uñas bonitas?
Sí.
Sí.
Okay, uñas, say it again. Uñas bonitas.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so that's what you're going to say when you go through customs, immigration. Oh, I'm not customs, immigration. So if you keep that tip in mind, you'll see their nails. If they're nice, they're going to go, oh, thank you. Stamp this shit out of your passport and adios, motherfucker. That is how you get shit done in Latin America. It sounds sexist, doesn't it? But you know what? They want to be seen, and they appreciate painting their fucking fingernails. So I would highly recommend, if you are a person that enjoys traveling, learn how to not be a dick. These lines are made to be like cattle. And all you're doing is rounding through those things and showing ID and showing your ticket stubs. And you know what's crazy? They stopped making you take off your shoes a while back, but you still got to take your belt off. So if you're going to travel, this is my holy grail of information for you guys. If you travel on a aircraft, I want you to take Kevin Samuel's Saturday suit day, and I want you to take this seriously. If you get a shirt from Brooks Brothers, a plain white shirt. Amor, mi comandancia blanco, camisa, ¿dónde está? El blanco Brooks Brothers. It's aquí en este. See. Okay, guys, check this out. I have a Brooks Brothers white command shirt. See, okay, look at this shirt. I want to show you a good shirt, okay? This shirt is made by Brooks Brothers, okay? This is a white Brooks Brothers shirt that has French cuffs, and it has knots for, you can get cufflinks, but if you work in, let's say carpentry, okay? I know a dude that works in carpentry, and he could put a really nice set of cufflinks, like with a hammer or with like a saw, and that is what you buy, guys. If you travel in a plane, in an airplane, this is the shirt that you buy. Now, the next tip is going to make you shit your pants, because it could end you up in first class. And I'm not even kidding you guys. You need to dress the part. But that's not what gets you up into first class. This is going to make you fucking laugh, okay? Just so you guys know, this is what a firefighter commander down here in Mexico wears. This is a uniform shirt for the Firefighters Without Borders, okay? I have no pins on here whatsoever. All of my stuff is on my outside jacket. And my rank has pieces of meteorite in it. It's amazing. So I'm going to put this away because I really need to tell you about what you need to do when you're about to get on a plane. Now, I'll just a minute, 1 second. Okay, guys, listen to me now and hear me later. I'm going to put this thing away. Thank you so much. Gracias. Okay, so buy a bag of peanut M&Ms. Buy a bag of peanut M&Ms. It's the Costco or Sam's Club size. That's, you know, I mean, it would be something that, something that they can share. But you want to give those peanut M&Ms to one of the stewardesses or whatever they call them now on the way in. Okay, you want to look to who might be the most senior and give those peanut M&Ms to that woman. It doesn't matter. Give them to anybody. I don't care. Man, woman, it doesn't matter. Because what that does, that's a secret code for some of the airlines. See, you seem to know something. But if you are not wearing clothes that make you look like you fit in first class or in business class, because I'm going to tell you something, guys. If some of you sons of bitches are going to fly to fucking Thailand and the Philippines, prepare yourself for the fucking worst jet lag you could ever fucking dream of. But not to worry. The professor has the fucking solution. You buy melatonin. You take 50 milligrams before you get on the plane. Do not drink any alcohol whatsoever. If you're an alcoholic, I understand, drink it. If you're not an alcoholic, take this time to read a book on the place that you're going to, and maybe even a language book. I'm telling you something, you guys. If you don't know the language, you're going to be upset because it's very exhausting to date a foreigner who doesn't speak the language. If you don't speak Spanish, a Tagalog man, listen, those people speak English in the Philippines. But in other places, let's say anywhere in South America or Central America, except for maybe Nicaragua, Costa Rica is going to have English-speaking girls, but who the hell knows? But you want to just take your time and take that in. You're going to take melatonin. It's going to make you sleepy. And it's not going to make you sleep for 24 hours, which is how long the fucking flight is to Thailand, you guys. And it could be 16 hours if you go through India. So if you're going to any of these places, if you cannot afford a first-class ticket, I highly recommend that you buy the basics, and that would be a big bag of peanut M&Ms. I'm telling you guys, you buy a big bag of peanut M&Ms, you give that to the senior member of the stewards or stewardesses on the aircraft, and that is what they're going to do. They're going to actually say something to you and ask you if you'd like to move up front if there's space available, because it's space A. That is not a booster seat. That is a motherfucking king's chair in business class or in first class. I personally got to fly from Germany to the United States in first fucking class. Why? I'll tell you why. Because I was dressed like the motherfucking commander to the Firefighters Without Borders. Because that's who the fuck you're talking to. And I put that shit on, wearing my jacket. People were saying, thank you for your fucking service. They knew who the fuck I am. But at the same time, I'm being the kindest guy. People are so nice. They're coming up to me in the airport, and they're taking pictures with me. And I'm thinking, man, my quality of life fucking sucks back where I'm from. I want to do better. And I said, but I only make $50,000 a fucking year. How can I do better? I owed like $70,000 in back child support. And you know what? I'm not an irresponsible guy, but I was being an asshole to the woman who took that child from me and moved to fucking Turkey. And I was not fucking around. Every time my license would get suspended, I would go to the child support office and I would say, this I do not believe is my kid. I have evidence to believe otherwise. 22 years of alienation. The reason why I suspected paternity fraud is because she had committed paternity fraud with the guy Gerald, who was with her and had a kid with him supposedly, but she told me herself, so this is not hearsay, she told me herself that she had screwed around with Gerald, with a guy named Mike. Mike was one of Gerald's friends in the barracks, and she fucked that guy, and she got pregnant, and they were not together at the time. And boom, you know why? Because every time that her relationships were ending, she would finally get herself pregnant so she could get a paycheck for 18 years and alienate us, the fathers, and then tell the kids that we're fucking assholes and we don't want nothing to do with the kids. You know what, guys? I digress. That is a good goddamn reason for a guy like me to get my fucking money right and get the fuck out of there. See what I'm saying? And I didn't go overseas to run away from anything because I had to pay my fucking child support off before I could renew my passport. And believe me, guys, I had a passport that had 6 months left on it. I could have fucking bailed. Watch my fucking hand, said, screw that bitch. And you know what? They wouldn't have extradited me. But you know what? 22 fucking years of not being able to see my kid. 22 years. And now I spoke to my kid and he's fucking like aggressive with me. And I'm like, motherfucker, what the fuck? And it's because his mother told him a laundry list of things about me that some of them were true. And I admitted to him, yeah, I was a cheater. I was a fucking lying asshole. I mean, I would come home with my shirt like buttoned sideways with like lipstick in my fucking underwear and what tidy whities, the old school style. And she would fucking, yeah, fucking asshole, and throw my clothes out the fucking balcony and shit. All right. And know what's great is that she told that my boy that I gave her an STD or STI or whatever, called it dick worms. I'm like, what? And he's like, see, motherfucker, you lied. You got my mom fucking infected with some kind of STD. And then, you know what? He didn't give me a chance. He didn't have any intention whatsoever of making a good father-son connection with me. He just wanted to be combative. That's not what I wanted. I was like, hell yeah, I got my fucking son back because the KMC community helped me find him. So I knew he was alive. I got this fucking random message from this guy. So it was great. I figured it out. And after it was all said and done, I ended up getting, and you know what's crazy, and this bothers me a little bit. Yeah, it's what it is, man. But this boy, for 22 years, was under the assumption his mother told him that I never got out of the military. Like, she said I was thrown out of the military. I was like, what? No. And you know what's crazy is that it's all verifiable. Like, I have my DD-214. And it actually shows on my DD-214 that I'm not just no normal motherfucking veteran. I have medals on my DD-214 for heroism. And it shows 2 tours of duty. And it shows motherfucking several devices for good conduct. So if anybody wants to fucking check my shit out, motherfucker, I got a absolutely good conduct motherfucking medals and adios. I got all my good shit. Good conduct, baby. Nah, no way to fucking say that I walked out of the military fucking shady. Fuck that. So that was a big lie that she told him that really fucking hurt me. That I was like, no goddamn way, man. I've been nothing about. That's all my life has been about, has been helping veterans get better. And you know what's crazy is that there are 2 veterans here in Mexico that are completely disabled. And they live in the prettiest parts of Mexico. One married a dentist and the other married a therapist, some kind of physical therapist. So she was like massaging them. I guess she was giving them the old whatever, rub and tug. And he fell in love with her. But whatever it takes, right? Both of them were Army Rangers. One of them was a Green Beret. If you guys know, Green Beret School is one of the motherfucking hardest schools. It is the hardest school. And you know what? I don't care. You guys want to talk about which the fucking whatever. You're not in the military anymore, dickweed. But it is important, okay, to recognize these guys had it fucking just, they had it made in the military. They get out of the military, they go back to the United States. They're like, oh boy. Because if you're overseas as a military guy, you pick up the hottest chicks in Europe or wherever you are. Because that's what we do. Military guys get the hottest girls, and then they bring them back to the States, and they usually get divorced. And they marry their best friend. It's fucked up. So that's why I tell people, don't bring these girls back to the States. Move to her country or move her ass to another country with you that isn't westernized. Okay? So that means if you meet a girl in Argentina, she's hot to trot, she likes horses. You're like, okay, great. Well, it just so happens that Paraguay is big on horses. It has a high-end polo society, you guys. If you are a black man and you have a little bit of money, let's say you're a $30,000 millionaire, guys, $30,000, and that's what you have in the fucking world. Okay, nobody knows you have that money but you. You know what you can buy in Paraguay? A ranch so big that you can't even see to the fucking other side of it. Okay? With the house, with the barn, and maybe even with some chickens and shit. Who the fuck knows? But it's enough money. Okay? So let's say $30,000, that would be like, oh man, it's more than enough. It's more than enough. Think about it now. The peso, by the way, is kicking ass against the dollar. If you're gonna go to Colombia right now, it's 4,901. When I left Colombia, it was fucking like 25 or 3,500. So it is definitely on the rise. My paycheck, just so you guys know, went down by 12,000 pesos. So you guys know my rent here in this house is 8,100 pesos. So that is how much the dollar against the US dollar against the fucking Mexican peso has deteriorated. It dropped more than 12% in 30 fucking days. And you know what? My heart is beating like crazy right now, not from anxiety, because I don't care about this stuff. You guys realize it's just money. And I need to survive. But man, they did a major fuck up with me. And part of being an expat is dealing with shit on the fly. That means at all times you need to have 2 different banks, maybe more. If you have 2 different banks in the United States, you can transfer money back and forth to each other. And you can use those cards in the event one gets stolen or one gets frozen and you can't access your money right away. You always got to have 2 bank accounts. Now, what bank accounts do you use? You see, the problem with bank accounts is that baby mamas back in the fucking States want to send a fucking forensic auditor up your asshole and see how much money you've been supposedly hiding. And meanwhile, you're fucking eating ramen noodles and shit and hoping to God there's not too much soy in this fucking tuna. So I want you to think about that, guys. They don't give a fuck about your well-being. Best thing for you to do is wash your motherfucking hands and get the fuck out of the country. But let's say that you are one of these guys that's a non-passport bro. You don't have your passport yet. It's delayed. But that's okay because you can still go overseas to a U.S. territory where all you need is your fucking driver's license or a federal ID or whatever. 3 places that I recommend that you try out at least for a trial. If you're not totally committed to moving overseas just yet because you got a bunch of houses and cars and 20 years worth of bullshit that doesn't matter anymore, or maybe your shoe collection, put it on a fucking eBay or send it to a consignment house, send all of your furniture to a consignment house. Those people will mail you money every month for selling all your shit. So there's your solution. Tell them to back the fucking truck up. You have everything packed, all your stuff that you want to put on consignment on fucking eBay or whatever. And you don't have to tell anybody this shit. This is what I did. I went to fucking Puerto Rico. I went to Puerto Rico because when I was in Miami, I was in the emergency room at the VA hospital. And the doctor came out and says, I can't see you because I haven't had my lunch. And I'm like jumping out of my fucking skin at the VA hospital emergency situation, anxiety attack, girlfriend's fucking leaving, I'm losing my mind. Doom. Anyway, my boy is one of my friends is a paraplegic. He was in Marine Corps. He had lost 1.5 parts of his leg. So he's cruising around in a fucking wheelchair and stuff. And his whole thing was that he was from Puerto Rico. And I never put 2 and 2 together. And he says, listen, man, why don't you come with me to Puerto Rico? My family's down there. You know what I mean? I'll show you around. And so I'm like, yeah, sure. The next fucking day we were in Puerto Rico. And we bought our tickets together in the waiting room at the VA hospital because I had it at the fucking here. We went there together. We both registered. I'm 100%. And they said, oh, you have dental, you have all this dental shit and you have all these benefits. Your daughter's going to college. And I'm like, thank you so much. And they said, oh, and by the way, for the distance that you drove here, we're going to pay you like 70 cents a mile. And I was like, all right, that's nice. So I happened to live like a half a fucking hour away, which was like $18 every single time that I would drive to the VA hospital. And I would go and I would sit in line. And this is in Puerto Rico, guys. You see, he told me that in Puerto Rico, they put an express lane for, guess who, drum roll motherfuckers, for combat veterans. So it is very insulting to me. Well, it shouldn't be insulting because I can't be bothered with lies. You know what I mean? He asked me straight questions and I gave him straight answers and he didn't want to hear it. In fact, if I said something that was in conflict with what his mother told him about me, he would call me a liar. And see, that bothers me because I know you guys know my story. All of you guys, and I'm going to tell you, XL Pros is here in the house. He could tell you himself. Shadrach is here in the house. These guys know me, okay? I will not lie to them, okay? Because I spent half my life lying to fucking everybody. But when I had my major fucking spiritual awakening or whatever the fuck it was, and God suddenly came into my fucking life and said, oh, guess what, asshole? You are now going to be Hosea, the prophet. And I'm like, I don't know who the fuck that is, first of all. And out of nowhere, I'm giving people messages, like legitimate messages from God. And it's such a blessing, but at the same time, I'm like a little bit terrified because I'm no preacher. I'm no like expert on the Bible or anything like that. But you know what? If God is speaking through me for real, there's no faking it. Because if anything, you gotta fake anything that is fake fucking whatsoever, or if a belief system is based on a lie of any kind that you cannot fucking defend, then it is not valid. And I'm not going to sit here and pretend that, okay, I know there were books of the Bible that were taken out. I know there's stories that are beyond and before the Bible was assembled. You know what I mean? I know there have been stories that were copy and pasted. I know that the book of Enoch talks about aliens. I know he talks about things that might be angels. And see, I wouldn't say these things normally, but if you guys remember, I told you guys myself that I was in the presence of not one, but two angels. One that was taller than a fucking telephone pole. The second one was in my fucking house downstairs. Okay? I don't talk about this stuff. I don't make things up because this is not my, first of all, this is a Catholic community. I am not Catholic in any goddamn way. I don't subscribe to that stuff. But it just so happens that the Virgin of Guadalupe is like the biggest deal here. Appears to this guy who's not Catholic. Okay? And as you would just imagine, this Virgin of Guadalupe came in a form of some smudge. Normally it's on the back of a fucking stop sign or it's on a grilled cheese sandwich and then people are like fucking lining up. Well, yeah, that happened. I was in a TV interview for a company that makes honeybee honey. Special kind of honey that comes from a place that has these super bees that works 10 to 1. And on the wall, this lady said, hey, the lady was interviewing, I was interviewing her. She says, doesn't that look like a coyote? I said, no, that looks like that Guadalupe lady that you guys are so crazy about. And she's like, oh my God. And out of nowhere is literally a line of people. And they put in an altar, they put candles, and they came there and this lady, by the way, is royalty. The lady that I was doing an interview on was an original member, one of the families that came from the original part of Puebla, which goes all the way back to her DNA says that she is something that doesn't exist anymore, which would be the Hopi Indians. I was very fascinated by that because Hopis were the ones who had giants, the ones who killed their own fucking giants. So that was very, very interesting. If you guys do get the chance to go to Puerto Rico, you go to the place you want to go. Listen, you can go to Puerto Rico and fucking disappear. I don't give a shit. If that's what you want to do, you can. If you want to go to Puerto Rico, go surfing, you can. If you want to go to Puerto Rico because it's part of Latin America, but you don't need a passport, dude, that's a fucking win. I rented an apartment on the beach for $500 a month. It didn't set me back much. The electricity is very expensive. I rented an apartment that had a pool on the beach, and it was all rocks outside, lots of barracudas, things like that. My neighbors reeled in this big motherfucker, and the cop chopped it up with a fucking machete and handed it all out. I didn't know people ate barracudas. Then I went to the U.S. Virgin Islands. The U.S. Virgin Islands, if you guys did not know this, is literally like a little Jamaica. So everybody has Rasta, everybody has dreadlocks, everybody's very dark because it's a hot climate, and they walk around in the sun with, like tank tops on and shit. They do have a lot of American characteristics, but these are just basically West Indies people. So if you guys are really, really, really interested in could this be love, love, can be love. Okay, so you're gonna have a great time. And if you play an instrument that you can carry on a plane with you, bring that damn thing. Bring a fucking ukulele if you have to. Bring some fucking bongos. But the U.S. Virgin Islands is part of the United States. It's medium class as in medium expensive. But the U.S. Virgin Islands, and if you did not catch my last live when I said what to do in the Virgin Islands, it is because my last trip there, I caught dengue fever. I caught dengue fever when I was staying in one of the very beautiful boutique hotels that's up in the mountains a little bit because I wanted to see down into the town. I was so excited. I had arrived in late afternoon, so basically I took a taxi to the hotel at night, and I couldn't see anything. So the next morning, I'm like a little bit groggy because I just flew in, and I wanted to go into town. So I started to walk. I said, "Where's downtown?" He goes, "Just walking downtown. Don't walk downstairs." I walk downstairs. I walk downtown. I see a taxi. Taxi takes me to the center of town. They have these boutique shops that have nice watches and things like that. You guys know I used to be a watch collector. So there was a watch there. It was like $30,000 US and had a piece of the moon in it. And I was like, no fucking way. So anyway, I went there and they checked it out. And it is literally the design district in Miami, or it'd be like Palm Beach, Worth Avenue or something like that. So it's not stuff that you and I would care. You know what I mean? That's just show shit. Nobody gives a fuck about that. Do you know what you could do with $30,000? Of course you do. You could buy a big fucking ranch down here in Mexico or in Costa Rica or in Nicaragua. Don't buy in Nicaragua. Or in Panama. You guys can do whatever you wish. 10,000 Canadians are living up in the mountains of Boquete. Now, if you don't know what Boquete is, it's cool all year round. It's Bouquet is the name of the word of the town. It's called Boquete. It's in Panama and Chiriquí. That's on the border of Costa Rica, close to the volcano. And if you guys are adventurous, it takes about 6 hours or 8 hours to walk to the top of the volcano. At the top of the volcano, hopefully you guys hear me out. Look to the right, that's the Pacific Ocean. Look to the left, that's the Atlantic Ocean. And it is very, very fucking hard to get to the top of the volcano because the road is like washed the fuck out, and it's like big old rocks and shit, and you're unstable, and some of them are literally like at a 15% grade the whole way up. So if you guys are long distance motherfuckers and you just got the power, you know what I mean, like superpowers, you could do it in about half that time, but it is so steep. And you know what I mean? You're just going up the fucking mountain like this because it's a volcano. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. I didn't do it, but somebody that I know did. And I'm going to show you guys this guy's video because he didn't lie. I was behind him a couple of years, and he got his head together in Panama after the war better than I did, quicker, because he had a motorcycle. And if you guys don't realize this, if you have depression or if you're feeling bad, get yourself an electric bicycle. If you like to feel good, I'm going to tell you something, man. There's nothing that put a smile on your face in the fucking world better than an electric scooter or an electric bicycle. It is nearly impossible to be depressed on it because I know I've tried it. Put my hands right there, and that's some like that. I don't know, feel good. I jumped. I jumped over a normal jump. I jumped and I smashed my fucking face the other day. So my tooth is wiggly. Now I got to go have my tooth work done, dental work. So anyway, those are some of the tips that are the easy ones. Always carry $500 on the plane with you, or show a screenshot of your bank balance that has your name on it. Always have an itinerary where you're going to be staying. So if you're going to be like, okay, for example, you're flying into Medellin, Colombia, and you're going to be staying in an Airbnb. You want to have that printed out and in your wallet along with your passport, because when you present it to, now you're going to immigration. You're going to pass through immigration. They're going to look through all your shit twice. Be as nice as possible. Smile. Brush your teeth real good before you go because they love white teeth. And you will have no problem. Be nice. Pretend to speak Spanish. Have words written down, and also have your itinerary where you're going to be staying, because they're going to ask you, ¿Dónde os pas? Or something like that. And then if you don't know that word, then it's going to be kind of tough for you. So what I recommend doing is having those words lined up ahead of time so you know what the fuck you're talking about. So in the airport, getting out of customs, getting in a taxi, do not fight with the taxis, because you can't call Airbnb. You can't call Airbnb. You can call Airbnb all you want. Nobody will answer. But if you have Uber, I would not recommend using Uber unless they have a designated place for Ubers. Now, the last time I checked, Medellin does not allow people, to use Uber at the airport. So don't be a fuckface. It's expensive. It'll probably cost you $34, $38 to drive your ass out of the airport to literally the closest hotel that you picked up from. So knowing that, just don't get mad. And if you're in the Dominican Republic, the taxi drivers always fuck you out of the money, first of all. And then they want you to tip them more because they think you're a stupid gringo. And you need to learn Spanish because they could talk about you, but you know what you're talking about when you listen and you hear their words. Then you could be 5 moves ahead. See what I'm saying? Okay. One of the things to remember, that when you go to the Dominican Republic and you meet a girl's family and they embrace you and they do all this stuff, they're going to have a lot of weird customs you're not going to be used to. Okay. One of those things is going to the beach. Now, you might be a black guy and you might be light skinned. You're scared you're going to go to the beach and end up looking like Seal when you leave. Well, I have good news for you guys. At the beach, they have these big umbrellas. They also have some big ass titties. So the question is, do you want to be a pussy or do you want to go to the beach? Okay. Now, second thing, and this is especially for you vegan pussy motherfuckers. Okay. And I realize you're mentally tough because I wouldn't be able to deal with you either. So they eat. This is what you need to know. When you meet a girl's family, you go to the beach in the Dominican Republic. Remember, they eat spaghetti. Spaghetti with ham that is chopped up. And you can use smoked ham. I would recommend smoked ham. They really love that. Like, get a packet of ham, chop it up, and then they use mayonnaise. Okay. Now, in the old days, when you and I were growing up, mayonnaise you couldn't have outside in the sun. It would go bad. You would get sick. That's because it was made from raw eggs. They stopped doing that and they pasteurized mayonnaise. So you don't need to worry about any of that bullshit anymore. So when you go to the Dominican Republic, when you go to the beach with your family, what are you going to make? You're going to make spaghetti with ham and mayonnaise. That's simple, you guys. And you're going to get a big Tupperware and you're going to put a lid on it. And you're going to make all these little plates and all these little forks and shit. And you're going to get they are going to have their favorite type of refresco, gaseosas, refrescos, I believe is what they call them. So you want to be prepared. Now, you don't want to give, you never want to show your hand when it comes to like something like poker. In the event that you meet a nice girl and you meet her family, okay, she is going to probably want you to spend money on groceries. And I would do that. You see, if she's worth it, you'll do anything for these girls. And what I mean by worth it, is she gone out of her way to meet you at the airport? Is she waiting for you on the other side of security? Because if she is, that means that she's took a bus to come to the nearest place where she can meet you at the airport. And that is the value that you want. You want a girl that looks up to you. And some of these girls are going to look up to you when you see the stars in their eyes and the smiles, and they look up to you and they're just like, you know what I mean, fawning over you. Okay, then you'll know that you have fucking arrived. And mine was my first experience when I went to Panama, because I had been talking to this girl while I was in the hospital. So you guys didn't know this. I was in a hospital, a VA hospital, for 2 years. I had to go to, you know, a lot of these therapies twice a week. And that's why I walk funny, my face all fucked up. So yeah, I'm okay now. And I did spend a lot of time at the VA hospital. So I was talking to these girls in Panama, and this one really just did it for me. I mean, like red dress, she was skinny. I mean, she was black, she was thin, she spoke English. So I thought. She was using Google Translate the whole time, writing to me on WhatsApp. And see, I was in Puerto Rico in the hospital, and she told me to install WhatsApp. I met her on Plenty of Fish. But I don't know. I don't remember. I just know that she was adorable. And I was like, oh my God, whoa. She was 23 years old. She didn't have any kids. She was graduating from fucking beauty school, and she wanted to move she wanted a husband. And she was so enamored by me when I met her. She was a little spinner, man. You guys, listen to this. This is great. She was a young black girl. She was 24 years old. She was 24 years old. And she was one of these dance hall girls. Do you guys know what dance hall means? Okay, if you don't know what dance hall means, it's a type of music that people from the West Indies listen to. Okay, so her father, so you guys know Panama used to be, we used to have an Air Force base there, and that is where her father was stationed, where she met her mother. And so that's how she, as a Panamanian, learned English so well, because she always hung around the base with her father. Well, her father passed away during the first Gulf War, died of a heart attack. He didn't die in combat. And so when I met her, and she still needed, you know, a lot of closure and stuff, I helped her go on to the VA website. I said, here's what you need to do for your father's burial, because there's burial rights here. You're not going to make any money, because don't think about that bullshit. You know what I mean? You're just getting burial help because he had put in for it, and that was all covered. So that was a nice thing, because she was smart and she could read English. You know what I mean? And she was adorable, man, you guys. And you're probably wondering, why didn't you stick with her? Because I was still a fucking asshole. You guys identify with that? Can you identify with that? You'd say, damn, man, I fucking met this girl and she's amazing, man. I mean, like, the best everything. Like, you know what I mean? I fucking did this and I did that and I spun around, and then she dances and stuff, and she's sweet, and she cooked for me, man, made me this like jerk chicken, and made my, you know what I mean, made my fucking lips fall off. And you'd be like, man, this is great. Panama has all the Colombian girls, has all the Venezuelan girls, has all the Nicaraguan girls, all the Costa Rican girls you could throw a fucking stick at. So there's no shortage of beautiful women. Question is, what are you going to do when you come down here? Because you can't be on fucking vacation. Okay, you'd have to figure out a plan. And you see, the hard thing about having a plan is if you don't have boots on the ground, you're going to have to come down and visit. Have to come down and visit and look around. You scout things out and be like, I don't know, man, Panama is kind of a big city for me. I kind of want to be out in the country. So you would go out in the country and you'd say, okay, well, this is a jungle. And yeah, fucking fruit trees everywhere. And it's a big canopy. And I don't have any neighborhood. I don't have any. I lived in a remote area in Panama on the beach. Okay. And I had a beach house called the Banana House. I had banana trees, hammocks everywhere, and this gigantic patio. And I would have like the top DJs from from Panama come to my house and have music festivals, and they would not fuck up anything. Like, I would think that they would knock on my trees down because banana trees are really flimsy. Nobody fucked with my trees at all. They were in my house, you know what I mean? There was like people like putting their feet up, and like the host would tell them, hey, no, put your feet down. This isn't your fucking ghetto ass house. So these guys offered the second night, they were doing a music festival. Something, and yeah, I'll go with you. I had no idea. This dude was a star. Like one of these big fucking like unbelievably big DJs. I've been sick for like almost a week. That's why my voice is all fucked up. And my tooth is falling out from bashing my face on the ground. You know what? I need to look. So, some of the best moves that you can make early on is investigating where you're going to go to. Decide if that's where we're going to go. 2, look at the currency. If it's Argentina, you're going to see that the currency went from being way up here to way the fuck down here. You don't want to live there because the U.S. dollar is not doing, not Argentina fucking, no, the economy's too fucked up. The one I would recommend now is you would get the type of visa where you can bounce around Latin America. It's called the nomadic, what's it called? Digital nomad visa. Somebody told him, actually, you know who it was? It was either Dan Sparks, Black Ram 313 was on a live with me last night, and he said that if you go to Colombia, especially, you know what I mean? Because it used to be like 33% of your worldwide income is taxable. So he was like, hey, man, they have that new visa. You got to tell your people, you got to get the digital nomad visa when you go to Colombia. So you don't pay any taxes on shit. That's a word, you guys. So, okay. So what are the best places to go? If you want to go long distance, you want to go Thailand. You want to go to Vietnam. You want to go to Cambodia. I hope you guys are taking notes because the guy who just came back, he was in Vietnam, he was in Cambodia, he was in Bangkok. Then I think he went to the Philippines. I think he's in the Philippines right now. I don't know. Okay. Austin was in Brazil. Brazil treated him well for the first month. Pissed off the feminists. The women in the States pissed off the feminists. And so they got him out of the fucking picture. He went from there to Thailand. And you know what I mean? He went and did some kickboxing, Muay Thai, which I suggested that he do at least once, try it. And it's a hard ass workout, you guys. But it's fucking worth it, man, because you could change. You do 2 things. You do Muay Thai, or if you do jiu-jitsu, or if you do both, and then you learn how to do meditation. And all those things connected together paint a picture of what you want to become and where you want to be. If you want to formulate problems in your head and look for problems in other people or constantly think of negative stuff, that's just programming. And you know the Rockefellers did that to us. I wish I was fucking making this up. That's not true. I am making this up. Everything I've said from this point on has been a lie. And everything forward at this point is nothing but a conspiracy theory that isn't true at all. These are just for fun. So remember that, guys. I'm reading a script. I am not making any of this stuff up. This is just a script. All this is lies. All right. So going into Panama, remember, guys, the airport normally does not have buses. Okay. They normally don't have buses, but considering that Panama is a poor country, you know those ladies that want to say countries are poor? Well, Panama City is a extremely wealthy country that has a bus system that is bar none fabuloso. And you can use that to spend your little 50 cents and go to your hotel. Unless the girl is waiting for you at the hotel, in that case, you go and you take your ass to a taxi, you plop your ass in a taxi that is nice and has air conditioning and it doesn't smell like, it's nice. You got to get a chip, put it in your phone while you're in the airport. You want to charge that bitch up. You want to put like 20, 40 bucks on that thing. Charge it up. You're going to get all the service you need, okay? Because you and that girl are going to be texting back and forth, you know, until you're blue in the face. And then you're going to have fun there. You might go run around a little bit and you'd see like this bar, you know, that's just loaded with Brazilian girls and Venezuelan girls and with Colombian girls that you can literally go in and pull from the herd. and dance with them salsa all night long. And at the end of the night, whoever was the best to you, that's what you're gonna go home with. And Panama is like that. I was fortunate enough to get a 19-year-old girl that had curly fucking natural hair that was like this big, and she every time she moved her head, her fucking curls would go crazy. And so, and she was on the itty bitty titty committee, but boy, she had a bow butt, and I was just dancing with her, man. I was having fun, and all older bitches like, looking at her. My hands like, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, whatever. So I'm dancing with this young fucking Panamanian girl all night. I'm spinning her, dude, because she is a spinner. She was wearing them big old fucking platform shoes. They had the big old wedge on the bottom. Looks like cork. It's like that goddamn big. They spin on their toes on those when they do salsa dancing. So a big tip, you guys, is to learn how to do some salsa dancing, because some of these women are going to want you to spin them around like that, because that's what makes them, you know what I mean? That's the friction they want. You know what I mean? People want friction. People want to be uncomfortable. And if you guys were on the Medellin expats board, you'll see that I put a very controversial Mr. Let's see, who was it? It was one of my guys, one of the YouTubers in the manosphere. He is a very soft-spoken guy named Raul. And I think Raul, he's black, but I think his family is possibly Cuban, but he was in the Air Force. So it's, again, one of those stories like ours that he started off, he wasn't an American citizen, went into the military, and after 7 years in the service, he became a citizen, which is great. So just keep that in mind, you guys. Now, one of my best tips for you guys right now is going to be Guatemala. Guatemala is one of these countries. You fly into Guatemala City. The minute you touch ground, that is the minute the clock starts ticking for you to get a passport from Guatemala. If you want a second passport, first of all, the reason why we're going to Antigua and we're going to go down that way is because that country is the only country that still does not use the hand scanners. So they're not using any of the bio clocks or whatever they're called on your fingers. Biometrics, sorry. They're not using biometrics on you. It's only one of the only countries in the world does that. And you only need to be in the country for 1 day per year. So that means that you want to be passport bros that are getting your money right. Come down and buy a farm where you're paying $100 a month for the next 30 months. But when you're done, you're probably going to be retiring from your job. Do me a favor. Now I got to go, you guys. Bye-bye.